Hi, so today we're here to talk about my first book, number 3, in space, brought to you by Elf Culture. And we're just going to give you a quick overview on how all the different pages in here work, and just kind of how to go through it with your kids. So just opening up the cover, on the left here, we end up having just your house, so where your kid might live, and you can teach them about just how to lock and unlock their door. There's a nice little latch on here that you can go over that with them. And opening up the door and the house itself, you have a little person, which can be your kid, that you can go through the book with, if you so choose. And you can also just kind of go over, it's like, hey, so time to wake up and start your day in the bed, and what time it is, and to turn your light on and off, if it's on or off, and kind of just go from there. But then you also can come over here and teach your kid what they should be wearing. So there's lots of different outfits, and you can kind of go over the different outfits for them. In the middle are the space suits that they could be wearing, and just kind of go over, it's like, hey, well, you need a space suit to go into space, and you can just kind of cover that with them briefly. And then over here, they need to get to space somehow. So you have both the airplane, and you can just kind of go over it with them on like how you might fly over different things to get to where you want to go, or on the boat, how you may want to travel over water sometimes to get places. And then in the car, of course, which they're probably quite familiar with, but in just how they might be able to drive to the rocket ship. And the rocket ship itself is all the way over here, because you need a rocket to get into space, of course, and you can just fly that up to the moon, and you're off to the races. And then over here, you have both the weather, so what it's like outside. You can get your kid to kind of look outside, see what it's looking like outside, whether it's snowing, sunny, rainy, etc. All kinds of different weather here for them to go over, as well as the temperature at the bottom. There's hot, warm, cool, and cold, and you can kind of get them to select it based on what they think it is outside. And then you also can teach them time on this page. There's you can associate different numbers with shapes. So like this is a plus, this is an octagon, square, all those different kinds of things. And we also have the hours, which is the little hand, and the minutes at the big hand, to kind of just teach them how a clock works, how to read a manual clock, as well as you also have night and day at the bottom here as little tokens. So if you wanted to teach them that it's 8 o'clock in the morning, you can go 8 in the morning. And then of course you can show them what that would look like on the clock by moving the hands around as well. So that's kind of how you can go over time with them. And then just over here you have the whole world, which they will be flying over in their spaceship. And you can teach them kind of about satellites and other different things that might move over the Earth here, as well as just getting familiar with the continents. So just which ones are which, where they go. You can also, of course, take these off so that they can hold them, feel them, kind of get an idea for what shape they are, and just kind of move kind of around the world and get used to that. And on the next page, we have all the different planets in our solar system coming out from the sun, and you can kind of move these up and down to show how they would rotate and how they're all kind of rotating at different times and in different places as well. You can move through all of these here. And on the following page, we have a nice little wand here that you can end up using for the different phases of the moon. So you can have the half moon, quarter moon, dark moon, full moon, all that kind of stuff, just to kind of teach them that the moon, as it orbits around the Earth, does change its shape, and it will look different depending on where it is. And then for a little break, if you want to take a break with your kids, we have tic-tac-toe. And so you can choose between the spaceships or the aliens, and you can just kind of take turns going through it. And the basic idea for tic-tac-toe still applies. One player places a token, then another, and you go back and forth until either one of you wins or it's a draw. And you can just kind of play that right here. And on the next page, you end up having a bunch of different aliens within this spaceship here, and you can kind of pull those out. I'll just pull out a couple now just to show you what they look like. And you can get your children to kind of select the different ones of different colors. And what you want to do is remember them. Okay, so this is the blue one, this is the pink one, this is, I don't know, the beige one. And just kind of take them and put them behind these doors as a memory game. So for example, you can count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there's 9 doors and 9 aliens. So let's say we'll put blue behind 7, magenta behind 5, and pink behind 3. And then you can kind of just ask your kids, okay, which one is pink behind? And then they can guess, okay, it's behind 3. And they open it up and they can put it back in with all the other aliens. And you can just kind of go through it like that with them to try to help them with memory and remembering colors and shapes and all that kind of fun stuff. And then on the next page, you can open up the moon, pull out this rocket ship, and this is kind of good for fine motor skills where you can take the rocket and thread it through all these different things and move it all the way up until it goes into Earth, and it can kind of just dock there. And of course, they can also fly back through the hoops. You can put that back in the moon as well. You can just kind of go from there. And then on the very last page, you have the rocket. So here it's already made, but you can actually undo the string. And so what you can do is, as you're wrapping it around, tracing out the pattern just at the top right there, you can just wrap it around the buttons to secure them and get it through until it's in the shape of a rocket. And so that can kind of help them just trace out the shapes and get used to wrapping string around buttons and just kind of get them used to the tactile sensation of that as well. And on the very last page, you have just kind of the information for your kid to put into the book to record whose it is. And that has been my space book with Elf Culture. Thank you.